Welcome, everybody, to the 3rd of March Matthews Veterans Advisory Committee. Thank you all for attending. So we'll go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Again, I have my flag here. Hopefully this will be the last virtual one, and maybe next month we'll get a actual in attendance live performance over there. So if you all would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hoorah.
Hoorah. Okay. So we did establish a quorum. Let's go ahead to the moment of reflection. So the executive committee, we met last week, and we are the only committee beyond the town board of commissioners that has a moment of reflection. And what we wanted to do was to determine if we wanted to continue on with the moment of reflection, because of course, if we do, one of the good things that Larry and Jack mentioned is that this should be something to reflect on veterans if we are going to do it. And if we do it, I think it would be a great idea that we pass it around like a round robin to everybody else. Everybody gets an opportunity to do it. So think about it, and at the end of the meeting, or we'll do it by email, if we're going to continue the moment of reflection inside of our meeting here. And again, like I said, the only one that does it is the board town commissions right now. So I'll give you the one for today. So I saw an interesting article on a U.S. Army Beret veteran on the CBS News in the latter part of February. This was in honor of the Black History Month. They aired a segment on retired Colonel Paris Davis, a 23-year-old Army veteran. Then Captain Davis served in Vietnam in 1965. During a 19-hour raid, he was hit by a grenade and gunfire. Ordered to move out, he disobeyed the order as he would not leave 2 of his soldiers on the battlefield who were severely wounded. Captain Davis picked up one of the soldiers and carried out Billy Walsh, who survived the ordeal. He was nominated for the Medal of Honor, but never was awarded it. The application was initially submitted in 1965. Then, after a 1969 military review was resubmitted, it was lost again, and there was no record on file. 56 years later, the 82-year-old still is waiting on his medal. I'd like to honor retired Colonel Paris Davis and all other Medal of Honor recipients, which is the U.S. government's highest and most prestigious military decoration awarded to those who had distinguished themselves by acts of valor, past and present. So take a moment to honor our Medal of Honor winners, recipients. Thank you. Also, please remember that Tom Cannon's funeral is this Friday, the March 5th at 10:30 at St. Gabriel's Catholic Church. Okay, with that, do we have any guests, Tanya, that we'd like to introduce?
Sure. So we have Mr. Tufano. We have former Mayor Jim Taylor, former Mayor Lee Myers, and James, it looks like from Senator Tillis's office, is also on with us.
James, if you could unmute your mic and tell you who you are. We know everybody else, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Hey folks, I'm James Estes, work for Senator Tom Tillis in his Charlotte office. I serve as his regional representative, so I cover 15 counties for Senator Tillis. My job is kind of broad. I talk to anyone and everyone about anything and everything, but one thing that the senator is extremely passionate about is veterans. He serves on the VA committee, as many of you hopefully know. And so when it comes to our veterans, I saw this committee meeting going on and thought I would join, kind of introduce myself. If anyone has any VA issues or needs assistance, feel free to call on us. We're here to serve you all. The senator often says that we'll never be able to repay our veterans for the sacrifices that they've made. However, we need to make as many installments as possible to try to repay them. And so if anyone is having issues with a federal agency, obviously with stimulus check talks going on, it's tax season. So if you're not getting your refund as quickly as possible, we've helped some folks with that. Like I said, the VA, obviously, people who have passport issues, things of that nature, any federal agency that we can assist with, we're happy to do so. And obviously, if anyone has any policy or legislative questions, happy to answer those. The senator's very involved with those different types of bills. We just drafted one this week to make sure that veterans who are exposed to radiation can get the health care they deserve. So that's kind of the latest one on the docket. But I'll kind of quit rambling, but I'm happy to answer anyone's questions. I actually don't see the chat feature, so I'm going to read out my phone number and email address rather than say I'll type it. My cell phone, you all can call or text anytime, is 704-604-2529. Again, 704-604-2529. Our Charlotte office phone number, if y'all need the office, is 704-509-9087. 704-509-9087. And then my email address is my name, James, James _ Estes. Last name is spelled Estes at Tillis, TILLIS.senate.gov. So that's James _ Estes, ESTES at tillis.senate.gov. Y'all will never bother me. Don't hesitate to reach out. You can call, text, email anytime. I'll do my best to get y'all answers and do everything we can to help y'all out. Thanks for letting me crash the party and join y'all tonight. Looking forward to hearing and learning a little bit more. But like I said, happy to answer any questions, and y'all don't hesitate to reach out if I can be helpful.
Looks like Jack has a question for you.
Yeah, James, thank you for coming to the meeting.
Yes, sir.
We really appreciate that. We've had connections in the past with the government, and you coming on board is really cool. In an example, I received a note today, or a letter today from the VA clinic here in Charlotte that my eye appointment was canceled. That's fine. I'm okay. I don't need to worry about that, okay? But if we have veterans whose appointments are canceled, well, they didn't tell me why, okay? But if we have veterans whose appointments are canceled, and then they go to the telephone number given to them, like it was given to me, to find out why, and they have no response, can we go to you?
Yeah, if you have issues, like I said, if you have issues with the VA, and especially something like that, or a recurring issue, if it happens multiple times, feel free to reach out to us and let us know. Everything at the VA, and this may not surprise some folks, everything is kind of case by case. So in your situation, not sure why it was canceled. They may have a justified reason, they may not, but that's something that we can at least try to look into and get you an answer. But have you tried to reschedule or anything yet?
Well, as I mentioned, for me, it wasn't critical. I think it was a follow-up exam. I'm okay. But I'm just thinking about veterans who need more help than I do, okay, whose appointments are canceled without reason given to them after they try calling the number given on the letter, okay. If they come to us, we can go to you and get more answers.
Yeah, anytime that anyone here has an issue, or if y'all know of veterans who aren't here tonight, but they're having issues, feel free to send them my way. Like I said, that's kind of what I'm here for. Our Charlotte office has 2 additional people. One is named Scott and one is Emily, who also assist with VA casework. And so for those who don't understand kind of how our office is laid out, I'll do a quick debrief for you. We have a DC office which houses most of our legislative and policy folks. There's about 20 to 25 staffers at any given time in the DC office. But our state operation, we've got 6 offices. Hendersonville is kind of our Western North Carolina, our Charlotte one where I'm out of. Then we've got Greensboro, Raleigh, and then Greenville. all of our offices here in the state in total have about 20 to 25 staffers as well, primarily focused on the casework and constituent services side of things. So even if you know somebody who doesn't live in the Mecklenburg County region, feel free to send them our way, because Senator Tillis is a U.S. Senator, which means he represents the whole state.
Very good. And Mark Tofano is listening in. He's a guest tonight. He is the commander of the local American Legion. So I'm assuming that the American Legion can also go to you if we have to.
Yeah, feel free to connect me with them. You'll have my email and phone number. I'd love to have a conversation with them as well. Like I said, I cover 15 counties for the senator. So my region is kind of the Gaston, Lincoln, Catawba is my western side. And then if you cut through Mecklenburg and Union County and keep going east, I stop at Hoke and Robeson County. And I'm constantly attending veterans coffees. I try to attend as many of these types of meetings as possible, American Legions, VFWs. I meet with our veteran service officers, the VSOs, for all 15 of those counties frequently. So we try to do as much as we can for our veterans. So regardless of what the group or organization is, if you feel like I should know who they are, or they should know who I am, I would appreciate an introduction. I'm happy to see what our office can do to be of assistance for them.
Wonderful. Thanks, James.
Yes, sir.
James, thank you so much for attending, and on behalf of Larry Stawicki and myself, the chairpersons of the committee, we welcome you and appreciate your attendance.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so with that, we'll continue on. So for the approval of the minutes, so we had our last meeting on the 3rd of February. Charlene sent out the minutes, and you guys all had a chance to review them. So with that, unless there's any questions, are there any questions about the minutes that Charlene sent out this past week? If there's not, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as they are written. And if we can go around the room, Tanya, if you don't mind going around the room with everybody who's part of the...
Sure, Charlene, I'm just going to go in alphabetical order by first name, try to keep it simple. So Bill?
Do you approve the minutes, Bill?
Bill, do you approve the minutes?
Aye.
Charlene?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Thank you. And by the way, both Jim and Mike have called out. They will not be able to make it tonight. Both of them have concerns and ongoing activities with their families right now, so they are excused for today's meeting. Okay, so with that one, thank you for approving the minutes. We'll go back up to some of the unfinished business, the Treasury Report. Jack, you're on for that. For any updates?
Sure. Yes. The minutes show that the balance last month was $3,655.94. That has not changed. I got a nice report from Lindsay Wiggs today, who takes care of the finances for the town. And by the way, she's fantastic. She responds almost immediately for requests from us. So again, the fund balance is still $3,655.94, but that will change next month whenever we have to pay for those banners.
Good. Thank you. Any questions on the budget? Okay, we'll move on next to the Veteran of the Year plan update. So, Fred, you can tell us where we're at on that, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, Doug, I've already started to make some changes in the narrative as far as the criteria goes and what the award selection will be based on. I have a lot of questions, and as I've asked you before, I'd like to meet with you on a one-on-one basis because, I don't want to go further unless we're singing the same tune. Excellent. And I'd like to do that in the next couple of 3 days if we could. And I want to get this thing started on the right foot before I complete it and bring it to the committee.
Okay, so if you guys remember in our past meetings, we had the Veteran of the Year page on our website. It is a little outdated. I think the last things that we speak to there are 2019. Of course, we had 2020 nominations. That went well. So I will be available next week, Fred, so we can sit down The main thing that I think we need to do with the Veteran of the Year is start soliciting and getting it out to the local organizations.
Right.
Before you know it, if we wait too much longer, then we're rushing to try to get something for the Veterans Day issue. It's a couple of months out, but we definitely need to get that out there and then hit some of the military committees or institutions around here to see if we can get some nominations for our Matthews veterans.
Right.
So that'd be good. We'll go ahead and take that. I'll sit down with you. We'll take that, and then we'll pass any of the updates that Fred and I put together and send them out for review for updating our page next month. Any other questions for Fred on the Veteran of the Year? Okay, next is the discussion of the 1 to 3 year plan. So if you guys remember from the last meeting, Mike and Bill are graciously volunteered. Bill afterwards, Mike is the lead and Bill is his assistant, if you want to call that there. Mike has been out on vacation. He's in Connecticut. He did have some updates, but he's did not send them to me. So we will take a pass unless there's anything, Bill, that you have to add on to the 1 to 3 year plan.
No, nothing at this time.
Okay, thank you. So what we would do, you guys remember that we did take some recommendations, and I believe one of the ones in the 1 to 3 year plan was the scholarship initiative. Tanya found out some more information on that one. So Tanya, if you don't mind letting us know what you discovered on that endeavor.
Yeah, so the town is not able to do, authorize MVAC to do a scholarship program, just due to laws and restrictions on how our money can be spent.
Great, thank you. So that item will be taken or striked from our 1 to 3 year plan. We're going to talk a little bit later about remembrance banners, and that may be something, Bill, that you might want to add to the 1 to 3 year plan as we move forward also. So that'll come under the new business here shortly. Okay. Next thing, comments from the admin issues from the town council. So Tanya, do you have anything else that you would like to address from last meetings?
I do not have anything else, but I do have some information I want to talk about when you do get to the remembrance banners.
When I get to what part? Oh, okay, yes.
The remembrance banners, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. The only other thing that we will say about that, I have been waiting for Lori to pass along some possible nominations for the committee, some applications. She has not received some, but I had 1 or 2 people call and tell me that they are interested. Apparently, she hasn't received the nominations yet, but as soon as we get those in, we'll go ahead and solicit those and pass them out to you guys. Okay, so the next thing, permanent comments from MVAC members and visitors. So one thing that I would like to go ahead and bring for the permanent comments were our MVAC homepage. I don't know how many of you guys have gone to our MVAC homepage, but since I've taken over, I visited a couple of times and I looked at a couple of the other committee homepages. And one of the things that are lacking or missing from ours is our current a list of our current members, the chairpersons and the members, so that people can reach out to us. Every other committee, like the Parks and Recs and the Planning Committee, has a list of their current members. So I would like to possibly update that. I'll send out, I'll send out the link so you guys can take a look at it and make any other suggestions. But I do feel that we would get more credit if we put our committee members on there, so people who know who we are. With that, is there any other comments from the MVAC members for permanent comments? Any visitors?
Doug, just a quick note, former Mayor Paul Bailey just joined you as well.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Paul. Okay, so any comments from our visitors? We got 2 minutes each for any visitors that would like to make some comments. Or they could be deferred. Okay, with that, I don't see any, so we'll go ahead and move forward. Under the new business, so everybody remembers from the last 2 meetings that we had a lengthy discussion about the renaming of Stumptown Park. So I've taken it out of old business and I'm putting it under new business because the Parks and Rec actually had their board meeting on the 22nd, and they decided that they voted not to change the name. With that being said, they're going with an initiative to a proposal to enhance the park. So I sent an email out to everybody, and one of the promises that I made during their meeting was I was going to reach out to the American Legion and the Rotary Club. So from the Rotary Club, I talked to Luke Mayberry, and I can't think of the other guy's name right now. My apologies if somebody knows what it is. Mike, I think it was. Jack, who's the guy that you recommended for the committee? Rush. Mike Rush? Anyway, anyways, I got feedback from the Rotary Club, and they do not have a position on the name change. They said, hey, they like what they did. We honored the veterans. It was also instrumental in helping to restore the restoration from Mark Tofano that was led by the American Legion, and they were happy with what they've had there. Subsequently, I did also receive an email from the American Legion, from Mark, and I sent that out for you guys to review. That review has a lengthy email and a recommendation to rename a pocket park within the park. There was an overview and there was an artist sketch attached, and I hope that everybody had a chance to review it. I like to go through some of the items on that a little bit. One of the things that I did first of all, though, I did send this out to the Parks and Recs team, and I referenced Corey's email. You guys saw Corey's email that I sent to you. His email basically passed the results of the Parks and Recs email to the town board, and that way they deferred the meeting until sometime in March. They did not do it on their latter February meeting, but they plan on addressing the items for renaming of the park on the 22nd. That's given us an opportunity to see how we can enhance the memorial park, the memorial within Stumptown Park. So in his email, there was a couple of points that I referenced to. I read Mark's email, and I thought when I looked at it overall wise, the American Legion's design would, as Curry said in his email, enhance delineation, signage, identification of the area as appropriate. And it would recognize the renovated memorial for the town of Matthews. Secondly, it would satisfy the desire by 73% of those who commented in support of renaming the park. And third, it lessened the impact on the available space. So one of the major concerns about the Parks and Recs was we have Stumptown Parks, we have a lot of annual activities there, and they didn't want the park within a park to take away from the current space in there. So what I did was I sent the American Legion's plan over to the Parks and Recs Committee and asked them to review it and then provide us information subsequently back on there. So in Mark's email, there's a whole list of comments over there. And I'm just going to read through each one of them. I made some comments, and as we go through each one of them, hopefully everybody had a chance to read it, but I'd like to get some feedback on that. So the attached drawings and representation. So first of all, they would like to call this the Matthews Veterans Memorial Park. So if you guys know, there's pocket parks within Matthews. So Pocket Park is a smaller park that really doesn't have a large presence. And some of these parks, there's about 6 of them. One is the Country Place Park, which is outside of Trade Street, the Fountain Rock Park, and the Town Green Park. So there's a whole bunch of small little parks that are just basically sitting areas or something small that is not as large as a Stumptown Park or the Thursley Park. So they could be small footprints within another park. So item number 1, it says the American Legion says approximately 10 feet from the turn of the sidewalk. And at this point, can I get you to go ahead and bring the overview picture up there? Tanya, of those, there was like 3 sketches and then 1 overview. If I can get you to bring that up.
Yeah. Is this the one you're talking about, Doug? The center?
It hasn't come up. No. Those are the 3 sketches. There's a very first one that has an overview.
Okay.
We're probably not going to talk to the 3 sketches over there, but there's one that shows like a PowerPoint overview one. There you go, the one that Charlene's holding up.
Hang on, it's coming up.
Thank you.
That one.
Perfect, thank you. So as you guys look at that one right there, I'm just going to go down through the list of items and see how this enhances. Now, if you guys look at this, the stage is below to the south end of this thing. You know, if you're looking at it, this as a north and south. And this would be the sidewalk that comes around to the corners up there. And where you can see the monuments in the center, you see those monuments and the enhanced portion of the bricks and the flags in the middle. And then the field of poppies is going to be a new idea. All the way to the right top edge is what the Rotary Club put in years ago. So this is the proposal for the Veterans Memorial Park within Stumptown Park. So the first thing is, number one, there's approximately 10 feet before the turn onto the sidewalks on the left and right sides of the park. There will be a pillar placed on each end of the sidewalks. So if you look at the right end and the left end, you see 4 separate pillars up there. This is where, if we did the pillars, they would match and look identical to the pillars of Stumptown Park, so it doesn't take away from the aesthetics of the park itself. And in here, these pillars, one of the pillars would have Matthews Veterans Memorial Park, and that would be the entrance to the park. So as you're looking at that, we'll continue on. The connecting pillars to the right and left of Stumptown Park will be a sitting wall. So you see the blue line at the bottom of it, and it's marked on there. It says sitting wall. That sitting wall is only 18 inches high. And if you take a look at it, the way they're looking at it and constructing it, that could seat approximately 100 people along that wall. So the viewing area, of course, it goes downhill from there down to the bottom, and you can see the stage. So that's sitting up at the high end of the park looking down. So to me, the sitting wall would actually enhance the park participation in activities, because you would be able to have more folks attending activities in the park. Between each of the sitting walls, there's 4 different entrances that are pathways, so you can walk up to the sidewalk. There's no fencing, there's no bushes, anything large that takes away from the appearance of the park. So what they're proposing is to have 4 walkways through there also. So it's seamless and integral, still part of the park over there. So item number 3 says, excuse me, that was the 4 items. Number 4, the sitting wall would comfortably sit approximately 100 to 110 people. Number 5, the distance from the edge of the sidewalk to Stumptown Park will be approximately 6 feet. So you see the sidewalk and the sitting wall, and in between there's the words "the landscape" written on there. I'm assuming that's going to be low covered landscape, and it's about 6 feet worth. Now, depending on Parks and Rec's recommendation, they don't want to take up too much land away from the remainder of the park. So I'm pretty sure that we could ask them to move it up a little bit closer within 6 feet. Let's say 4 feet or 3 feet, closer to the thing over there. So we'll see what Parks and Rec comes back with. But right now, they're recommending or requesting 6 feet to put some additional landscaping in there with sprinkler systems and water and plants, and make it really look nice. Okay, so item number 6. Okay, the landscape right here. It says the landscape will be between the sitting wall and sidewalk, mostly of flowers and grass and small shrubs. So hopefully nothing that'll grow too large. Number 7, the post will light and irrigate the landscape area between the sitting wall and the sidewalks. That's a bonus. The post is, first of all, let me say that the American Legion, if this plan is approved, will fund this entire project. The post will be responsible for building the pillars, the sitting wall, the path, and any costs associated with the materials for labor. So my comment on this was, Parks and Recs nor the town of Matthew would have to budget for the project. This would be beneficial in that the funds required would be dedicated to other projects and would speed up the construction process, as it would not have to go through a lengthy approval process. That's my comment. I'm not sure if that's true or not. So you guys have been around a while. I'm not sure what the timelines are for an additional project and get the funding approved. Item number 9, the time for construction will be between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the weather. So it looks like they're saying that within a month they can have this thing completed. So it's not a lengthy process. Number 10, the post will maintain the landscape areas between the sitting wall and the sidewalk for a period of 2 years after installation. My comment on that was, this would deflect Parks and Rec's costs for the next 2 years. My question is, can the American Legion assume the responsibility, and is this permitted by town regulation? I'm assuming that it is because I think the previous upgrades and improvement that they did with the monuments and the bricks and the landscape is already being maintained by the American Legion. Number 11, the area to the left side of the military flag wall will be mostly boundary. Let's see. Sorry about that. The area to the left side of the military flag wall, between the wall and the most boundary of the park up to the sidewalk, will be landscaped in fashion similar to the existing landscape scheme to the right side of the military flag. So a lot of this stuff is going to be redundant, and it's not going to take away from my understanding from what Stumptown Park looks like today. It still looks like one park. You're just going to have more pillars and more sitting walls up there. And then number 12, as a special feature of the landscaping, on the left side of the military flag wall, there will be a field of poppies, which is the international flower of remembrance. So my comment on that one, that would be a nice touch, as red poppies are also used as a gift to the dead in Greek and Roman myth. So I thought that would be nice to have that field of poppies in there, and it doesn't really take away from the park, the Stumptown Park. And then finally, the area to the left of the military flag wall will be lit and irrigated, and by connecting the lighting and irrigation systems to that which has already been established by the post. So looking at that a sketch over there, and then he had 3 artist drawings. I'm not going to worry about the artist drawings because they are just what they are right now. It's just a sketch of that. But any comments when you look at this right here? Remember, so when I looked at this thing, and the Parks and Rec says, hey, if we keep the name Stumptown Park, we will see what we can do to enhance the memorial without taking away from Stumptown Park. I saw this as a very wise and good decision, and again, forwarded it to the Parks and Recs, and now they get a chance to absorb this and make comments and a decision on here. So from our folks that are here tonight, are there any comments or questions? You can go ahead and remove this unless somebody else has any questions. I'd like to see everybody's faces again. Tanya, if you would. Okay, so Charlene, any comments from you on this remembrance?
No, I mean, I see that as a way to work from both sides, and an easier way to all come to terms on that. I don't have a whole lot of objections to that, as long as we're not changing any kind of names, then I don't see a whole lot of problems with that.
Okay, thank you.
I just don't know. I don't know. I guess my only concern is I wonder then, like, who has control over that section? You know, does it become an issue of American Legion saying, well, we're having a function here, so because we did all this, is this going to be a problem between the town and American Legion for that section or anything?
So I would assume that the Parks and Recs, who's that person that leads that? I forgot her name, Leanne or something like that, within the Parks and Recs.
Leanne Moore.
Yeah, so she would be the person that would be doing the scheduling. So anything that gets schedules for the veterans or for that park, they would still have to get approval through Leanne Moore on that thing over there, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Good question. Fred, do you have any comments on it? You're still on mute, Fred.
No, not at this point, Doug.
Okay, how about Mr. Bill Campbell?
Excuse me, I had the same question about scheduling. Could there be 2 events going on at the same time, one in each park? And then is there any legal concern if somebody stumps a toe or something in either park? Whatever the city has set up now to cover any accidents or concerns, would it work in both areas?
So I do remember from attending the committee that I do believe that they have a lawyer, just like the planning committee has a lawyer, Craig Bowie, and some of the other ones. But I'm pretty sure that they would also have a lawyer representing the Parks and Recs for the town for any liabilities within the parks. If somebody was playing on the wall and fell off the sitting wall or something like that. That's a good question. Right. So we'll ask that on to the Parks and Recs committee at their meeting. I'll try to bring that up.
Doug, my guess on that, it's still town property. So my guess on that is the town's property and liability insurance would kick in and we would be defended by the town's attorney, Charlie Buckley.
Right, Charlie. Okay, thank you so much. Timing on that. Okay, Peter, do you have any objections to this plan or comments?
I don't. I think it looks good. I like it. Even though, I'm a veteran, but I was against changing the name of Stumptown Park just because I've been here forever,
Understand.
I was raised in Matthews and I've always known it as Stumptown, and I just wasn't for changing it. And, I think we have other ways to honor veterans.
Okay.
So I wasn't for really changing the name of the park, but I really like that plan. It's a nice place.
Perfect. Thank you. And Larry, any comments from you, please?
I'm interested to hear what Parks and Recs thinks about that plan. It's a nice drawing. It's a nice layout. I think if we have an issue, it may be with that landscape area and that 18-inch wall, because I just remember from the meeting we attended that, when there are events going on, every square foot is important. So it looks nice. I think everything's great. I'm just wondering how that's all gonna, the 18-inch wall and the landscaped area is 4 to 6 feet. I'm thinking that may be an issue. If they don't think so, there may be something that I just don't know because, there are other people more familiar with it. But I'd like to hear if there's an issue with any of that. But the drawing and the sketches, it looks great. I think the veterans would be more than proud of what's there now. And if this goes into effect, I think it is good. I think it's.
So I think what they wanted to do, Howie and the committee over there for their Parks and Recs, they wanted to enhance the footprint of the park. But they did also want to keep the name change the same. So their recommendation has gone forward from Corey to an email to the town. So that email, all that is a recommendation from Parks and Recs. The town board of commissioners still has to make that decision, yes or no. They could say that, hey, with the 73% of the votes or the comments saying that they wanted a name change, they may decide to go ahead and make the name change. I'm trying here as a new person, only being here a year, I'm trying to look at both sides and come to a compromise, I guess more than anything, is because there is a lot of history for the Stumptown Park, but at the same time, the town of Matthews also authorized the American Legion to enhance the Veterans Memorial there. So to me, I doubt seriously if they're going to make another location for the Veterans Memorial, as they had stated in one of their previous meetings. And if they do, that's like 8 to 10 years away from now because there's no plans in it. But I think this is a viable solution, and I just wanted to get our committee's decision. So what I would like to do is already send it to the Parks and Recs. They are going to review it. If they have, they're probably going to have some changes. Maybe the changes in the walls, maybe the changes in some of the openings or something. And then let's rediscuss what they have, and then hopefully we can take it as a joint committee, both the Parks and Recs and MVAC, to the town for our recommendation if we both come to the same agreement. So that is right now the plan. The American Legion would like to fund this. So if there's any changes, we would have to go back to the American Legion, because if there's any changes, for example, nope, we're not going to call it a park. Well, it may be a dead issue. The American Legion said we're not going to fund it then or something like that. So we need to find out what Parks and Recs are going to do at their next meeting on the 10th, and then after that, get back together. What I did want to do is, hey, it looks like the majority of the comments from the town were in favor of a name change. I think the parks, this memorial, this pocket park within the park, answers that. And if the town decides not to change the name, then to look at the park idea as a viable solution. And that's what I would like to brief. If Parks and Rec say, nope, we don't want to park the park, nope, we don't like the idea, or we want it to be a garden, or whatever other kind of name they want to do to it, then we as a committee, we are speaking for the veterans of Matthews. Do we go with this idea forward if the Parks and Rec decides that they do not like this idea? But before we even go there, I want them to be able to make their, take a look at it and make a decision on it, because I may be saying this all in haste. But I wanted to get your guys' opinion that if we like this idea and it doesn't take away from the park, do we want to go singly as the MVAC up to the town Board of Commissioners with this idea if it gets scratched from Parks and Rec's venue? Any comments on that? Jack?
Yeah, a couple of comments. Back to Bill's question about liability, and Tanya answered that. I would think that the town's property, and the town would have insurance for that, liability insurance for that kind of problem. I'll be here 33 years in June. And up until a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I didn't know we had a veterans memorial. And I'm a veteran, okay? And when I found out the ideas and thoughts of enhancing what the Rotary did, 30 years ago, 3 decades ago, I'm all for it, okay? And based on comments from veterans in Matthews, it'd be a hell of a tribute to those veterans and us veterans, okay, to have an area named for the veterans. Now, if it's a pocket park within some town, and right, some town has a lot of history to it, but there's a pocket park for the veterans, I think that answers their question and their questions. So I just want to make people understand that based on the comments from people, not only just veterans but others, I think it's really important for the town of Matthews to go forward with a area and name that area for the veterans who gave their lives for us and for our country. So a park within a park, that answers everybody's question. I mean, I think it would satisfy everybody's thoughts and request to honor veterans. That's my comment.
Okay, and what I said in the very beginning, once again, was when Corey sent his email, hey, we need something to enhance the delineation of signage and identification, so it answers that. Number 2, it satisfies the desire by 73% of those who commented to renaming the park. And number 3, it lessens the impact of the available space. So what I like to do then now is, now that everybody's on board, has seen this plan, wait to see what Parks and Recs have, give them an opportunity to take a look at it. That's what they're there for. That's their committee. And depending on the results, if, we can come to some kind of agreement, we could come with a joint voice to the Board of Commissioners. And if it's totally undoable, then we need to decide at MVAC, do we take this as the veterans' voice to the committee? Make sense?
Yes.
Anybody have any objections to that if that's the case?
I agree.
Okay. So that is the update for the park on the Matthews Memorial Park. So the next item, second new item, and the last item that we're going to talk about is the Remembrance banners. So you guys, I wasn't here when you guys started this, but apparently this was a discussion within the past year of doing some type of memorial for remembering individuals on Memorial Day. I don't know if it ever took off. Larry or Jack, if you guys have any insights, Charlene, from your notes, that if you recall any of this activity before I get into some of the things that we are recently doing.
It came up as an item, but it never became new business for us. It was that the mayor had seen this in, where is it, in South Carolina?
Right.
And he came back and somehow he mentioned it to somebody, but we never got any kind of marching orders on this, so we never pursued it at all.
Larry, you remember we discussed at the beginning of talking about these banners, not just like the ones that we're doing now that are going across the street. Before we came to that position, we had Peter looking at all those different flags. Right. Before the flags, it was talked about doing those smaller banners, like where the first Thursday would put those up, the smaller size ones that hang down. So we kind of brought it up then about, well, do we want to do those? Do we want to do flags? Do we want to do these big banners across the streets? We kind of looked at those different options. And at one of those meetings where we talked about that, that's where Mark Tofano mentioned that the town had already been talking about doing these remembrance banners. We were like, oh, we didn't know anything about that. That had never been brought to our attention. And so we stopped talking about those smaller, I don't know, like I always want to, the small ones that hang long and narrow at the top.
Right.
We talked about those. So we stopped talking about those and we moved on to the banners across the street.
Right. Okay.
That was, that's where we had kind of started a conversation on it. We'd started thinking about it, but Peter had a price on them. They were going to be so expensive that we kind of moved away from that really quick and then went on to these other ideas. We went on to those flags and then we went on to the banners, to the longer banners.
Okay, so here's where we at. I know I sent you guys an email. I sent you a sample of the copy, and this is what I got. So I got this from the American Legion, and the good thing is the American Legion is coming back to the IMVAC. The IMVAC should be the voice of the community to the mayor for veterans, not one of our other organizations within here. That's why we exist. So Mark was gracious enough to pass this email back to me back on the 17th of February. And it says over here, it says, hello, Doug. Our Mayor, John Higdon, on a visit last year to Chester, South Carolina, visited a Memorial Day period observant banners that honored veterans in Chester who have served and have fallen in the line of duty. Upon his return, he discussed with the town manager, Hazen Bolget, and they both agreed that this needed to be done for the town, for the Matthew veterans. It was his understanding at the time that there was $4,000 that was going to be allocated for these banners. Since this is a project for veterans, he suggested that the INVAC go ahead and lead this effort. So subsequently, I went ahead and sent an email to the mayor and to Mr. Hazen, and I said, hey, I received this from the American Legion, Mark Tofano. I see it as a great idea. If you don't mind, let the INVAC take the lead for this effort. What I needed to know immediately is the $4,000 allocated for this project and already been approved. And since then, I didn't get anything back from the mayor or from Mr. Or from Hazen, but I did get an email the other day back from Maureen T, communications person for the town. She goes, Doug, I had been talking to our vendors regarding the project last summer, so I wanted to share this information. The cost of each banner would be $125, and etc. We can do up to 32 banners. We need the information 6 weeks prior to that. So we're coming up on the 6 weeks prior to that. Maureen subsequently sent me another email. She says she's preparing a memo for the board on Monday to request the funding for the banners. I don't know if we are ready to engage in something this quickly for this Memorial Day that we can get it done, because first of all, what is the criteria? If you're a fallen hero, of course, that's easily, but where do we reach out to all of these within the town of Matthews to find out who would even meet the criteria that we would establish, which we haven't established yet, to be recognized on one of those banners? So my question to you guys have talked about this once before, is this too short of a time frame, and should we put it on our 1 to 3 year strategic plan?
I'm going to say right off, it's too short of a time period, because one, you don't have the criteria set. Two, you got to then vet all of whatever applications, or how are you going to find out? We don't even have a list of veterans in the town of Matthews. That's always been something that's a privacy thing we haven't been able to get. So, and you're talking about getting 32 names of people. So I think it's a great project, and I think it's a great 1 to 3 year project. But I see it being a next Memorial Day before we could get that anywhere near done. Because you're going to have to establish, one, who on our committee is going to take on doing this. Two, then we had to decide the criteria. Then you got to try to put that out there and get, results back from that.
Exactly. It would be like the Veteran of the Year plan or program that we had, which was tedious. And to do this, I think it would be even more tedious. But once we get it established, any other comments from anybody else?
Doug, two quick things. One, Mayor Higdon just joined the meeting. Welcome, Mayor.
Hi. Sorry, I'm near the end of your meeting, but I was in my 6th or 7th Zoom meeting for another issue. So.
Well, perfect timing because we're talking about the Remembrance banners right now. So perfect timing.
Right. So, we're going to discuss that at our Monday meeting. And I think there's a high probability the town will be able to pick up the tab for those. Our concern is that I know there was a desire in speaking with some of you that you wanted to try to have those by Memorial Day, and that may not be possible just from the logistics of getting all the information that quickly. So I think we intend to do it, but it may be unveiled
beyond our capability right now. Yeah. Okay, so Charlene just mentioned some comments, and that was a couple of the comments that she had made was, within the 6-week period for us to get there, for us to lead the project, to write up the criteria, to vet the applications, and then to make the banners may be a Herculean effort right now for us to do that. Any other comments on that from any other of the members of the MVAC, please?
Yeah. Not to do it, but to do it by Memorial Day.
Yes. Jack.
Yeah, it is kind of too soon to have it done by Memorial Day. What we need to do, I think, is come up with an action plan. Come up with a person who's going to lead the project, okay, and then come up with an action plan on what needs to be done to get from the first base to the home plate, okay, and with that we can decide all those actions that need to be done. Can it be done on a timely basis? It won't be done by Memorial Day, but can it be done by Veterans Day? Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, if not, then for sure target next Memorial Day. So we have two dates we can target: Veterans, November 11th, or next year's Memorial Day. Okay, but I think you got to sit down and write that plan first to find out all that's necessary to get done, and then decide, can we get it done in a certain period of time.
Right. So, Mayor, what we did do is we discussed how you came about that. We talked about our fallen heroes and for Memorial Day. We also are starting a 1 to 3 year strategic plan for our budgeting and funding. And I think this would be a great item for us to put on our plan. So either for the next year or the subsequent years or throughout the next 3 years. But I think the endeavor would be too overburdening right now for us to try to establish that, since we don't have a criteria, or do we have applicants for it right now. One of the big problems that we've discussed in some of our previous meetings was there's no way for us to get a list of veterans who are currently residing in Matthews. We can't do that through real estates. We can't do that through any kind of the town or DMV or something of that nature. We just don't know how to get a list of our veterans besides going through the American Legion or some of the other veteran things that we have here. Yes, Larry.
James, are you listening? Are you still, or you just, I was going to ask James if there is, so we've always had the problem of, is there a list out there of veterans from either by county or by town? And I don't know if you have access to anything like that, or you know of any. I know we can't go to DOD; they won't give us that information.
It's TPI information. And Mayor, just so you know, James Estes from the senator's office, from Senator Tillis's office, has joined our meeting tonight. So, James, if you heard that question, can you respond to that?
Yeah, it's a good thought. I've tried to look into stuff like that in the past for folks, and the hiccup we always run into is privacy issues. I'm happy to look into it as well, but I have a feeling that we're going to run into the same issue. Even if it's something that our office could get its hands on, we'll probably not be able to hand that over, unfortunately.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think perhaps the best way to get that information may be just to advertise it on the town website and in the local paper, and ask families that have veterans and veterans to come forward. Tanya, I just sent you a photograph of the banners that I saw in Chester, or one of them. I don't know if you can share your screen.
Yeah, I sent it out once before, but please, Tony, if you can bring that up. There you go.
There you go. That's what kind of inspired me. I was down in Chester near Memorial Day last year, and people were pulling up and just walking through the town and looking at all these banners. They were really fantastic. That's kind of what I had in mind. I don't know what you guys thought of, and gals, if you wanted to add other information or whatever, but I really like the photograph, particularly of the when the veteran was in the military, and then, you know, some information and the hometown hero. I think that's a nice touch. That gives you an idea about how big they are, but they had them all over town like that. It was really nice.
Right. So we did see that, Mayor Higdon, we did see that. I think it's a great idea. I think one of the ways that we could probably do is also get a hold of the Veterans Committee in Chester, South Carolina, and figure out how they went about doing their criteria for this.
That's a great idea.
So that'd be
reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, it's probably too early for us to try to do it for this Memorial Day, but it's probably a great endeavor. And we do have our 1 to 3 year plan, and this is one of the things that I'm asking our lead, Mike and Bill, to put onto our 1 to 3 year plan and see if we can do something like that and reach out and hopefully have something for this for the future Memorial or Veterans Day, depending on what our criteria is going to be. So in reference to your meeting on Monday, I would probably say you probably don't have a requirement for the $4,000 for this Memorial Day, but it's something that we would like to use in the future.
Yeah, I spoke with our town attorney, and he has assured me that we can use tourism funds, which, you know, makes it not nearly as hard of a lift. It's a small amount anyway, but...
what type of fund was that again?
It's tourism funds we get from restaurants and hotels, taxes and things like that. And that'll be
perfect.
Much easier lift than just finding some money from the general fund that's non-allocated.
Because otherwise we're going to ask the town to increase our budget, but tourism fund would be a great way to go, and so we can go ahead and put this into our vision, our strategic plan for the future.
That might be a discussion for another day. But sure.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments on the Remembrance banner? So I think right now we are going to go back to the town, let them know that we will not be able to support it for this Memorial Day, but it will be on our agenda to put into our strategic plan and hopefully have this in place, come up with a criteria and see if we can come up with, one of the places that we could go to is American Legion. All those bricks that are written down there in the memorial, in the Matthews Memorial there, those are probably veterans that we can have a list of pictures and candidates to go ahead, for remembrance too. So, I mean, there's avenues, but I would like to reach out to Chester and see how they went ahead about doing their plan. Any other comments on that? Okay, so think about it. We got a limited number of people here, but think about if anybody would like to lead that endeavor also for the upcoming Memorial Day, or once we get into our plan. So think if you're interested in that. Okay.
I have a question for the mayor.
Sure. Which one?
You mentioned tourism. Is a veteran memorial considered a tourist attraction?
Yes, I think so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, that was it for our new business. While we have you online there, Mayor Higdon, is there anything else that you would like to say to the committee while you're here with us? Take an opportunity.
No, I just I think you guys and gals, I have to stop saying guys, are doing a great job, and we appreciate your service, and I'd like to attend more of your meetings, but quite frankly, I think this is seriously like my 8th or 9th meeting today. So
I understand. Just so you know, our business was talking about the Matthews Veterans Memorial Park that was proposed. We had a lengthy discussion about that. Parks and Recs has a copy of the American Legion proposal. Our committee is in favor of it. We'd like to see what the Parks and Recs is going to say, if they have any changes or plans, changes to the plans, and then we would get together with them and provide hopefully a joint proposal back to the town board afterwards. By the way, I don't know if anybody watches the WSOC news this morning. Anybody seen that this morning?
I saw it, yes.
Okay, so I was on TV and I didn't even know I was going to be out there.
TV star.
So apparently there was this Mr. John Paul. I don't know if you guys know John Paul from WSOC. He was doing a piece on just 2 words. And the next thing I know, it was with Mark Tefano because he was leading that effort. The next thing I know that there were some snippets of the Parks and Recs meeting where I had said something, Larry, and all of a sudden here I am as a Parks and Recs committee member and having dissent against the name change. I think my comment, they took it literally what it was, but I think my comment was if we did not get a Stumptown name change, that we would like to enhance with the alternative memorial. And my comments were basically saying in support of if we were not going to get a Stumptown, a name change for Stumptown Park. So I think they took it out of content, and I will reach out to Mr. John Paul tomorrow and let him know that I am not a member of the Parks and Recs Committee of Matthews. Okay. So now it's open time for the public. So we have quite a few guests over here. Anybody, if you would raise your hand and let Tanya know if you have any comments or questions. Great. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to say before we make a motion to adjourn, I wanted to thank everybody who contributed to the Brick and Flowers for Tom Cannon. Once again, his memorial service is this Friday. It's going to be at the St. Gabriel's Catholic Church at 10:30, if you can make it. On the brick, we did not determine how many years or what were the years of his service. I talked to Barbara and she wasn't able to come up with any information. So the brick that we are going to purchase from the American Legion and put in the memorial is going to say, unless anybody has any objections, Captain Tom M. Cannon, B with a period, little b with a period, born, this is what Miss Barbara Cannon recommended, 1943-D period, 2021. So the period of born and death, and then the third line would say U.S. Navy retired, which of course, if he's retired, means that he did more than a 20-year career. So any objections to that inscription on the brick? Okay, so that's what we're going to go forward with. I'll get that out to the American Legion to have them print the brick. And of course, if you guys remember, the American Legion say they will have a remembrance ceremony at the date and time of Miss Cannon's desire. So we'll reach out to her once the brick is available and see if we can do like a not a 21 gun salute, but some type of a memorial for Tom at the Veterans Memorial when we place the brick in there. Okay.
I see hands from Mark and James. I don't know if they want to talk.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to tell you, Doug, but I was muted. James Estes has raised his hand from Senator Tillis's office, and Mr. Tefano's hand is also raised.
Okay, let's go to James first. I know he's been here for a while now, so, and as a guest, if you would like to make some comments.
Hey, folks, I just wanted to say, and I tried to get in before during the public comment section, so sorry I missed it. Thanks for letting me join y'all. A moment of personal privilege. I grew up in Matthews, moved there in 97. Went to Matthews Elementary, Crestdale Middle, and Butler High, played football, played soccer, grew up over near the Siskiyou YMCA. And so hearing y'all talk about Stumptown Park, and I remember Matthews alive and being down in that area. So just a lot of great memories. It's good to be with y'all in the town of Matthews. So thanks for letting me join. I want to say thanks to all our veteran service, and just put another plug. Y'all are never going to bother me. If I can be helpful, if Senator Tillis can do something for y'all, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to join in on future meetings. I try to pop in and around, but like I said, if y'all need me for anything, you holler.
We have your email, and we'll add you to our list as a guest, and appreciate you attending our meeting tonight.
James, be ready. It's coming.
Yeah, if the senator has any extra money, we'll take that too.
I'm looking forward to it, Jack. Looking forward to it. And Larry, when it comes to the money, believe me, if the money's being spent, the senator wants it here in North Carolina. So we're always trying.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, with that, Mr. Mark Tefano, your turn at the open comments, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Doug. You actually covered it right in the closing remarks about Tom. When we ever have engraved bricks that are placed into the paver brick area, we always have a ceremony for all the people that purchase bricks. And if any of you have ever attended any of one of those ceremonies, each person takes their brick and holds it up and faces it out to the general public who's attending. The last time we had nearly 50 people there. And they say something about that person, and then they physically place that brick into the paver brick area. It's an extraordinarily emotional moment, and it's an enormous tribute to the person that they're honoring through the purchase of that brick. We always try to have a live bugler play taps, and we go through the standard military protocol for our flag honoring and also for saluting of the veteran that has fallen. So thank you very much. When that happens, when Barbara, Tom's wife, is agreeable to that, we plan on having a full ceremony for Tom.
Mark, would we have to wait? Would we have to wait for an event where, like you did, like the monthly one or whatever with everybody, or is this going to, or can this be a separate event at Barbara?
We have done separate events for individuals. As a matter of fact, we just did one for one of our members that had fallen as well, had passed away. And so, no, it can be scheduled for any time.
Okay, let me ask you this, and with the mayor on board also, is there a possibility to get a U.S. flag that was flown over Matthews or anything of that nature? Do we fly flags that we can retrieve and possibly have one folded up for her?
Actually, I'm sorry, Mayor, if we could jump in and do that on Tom's behalf. He was a member of the American Legion, so we would be honored to assume that responsibility.
Yeah, the town certainly has nothing, I would not object at all. So,
okay, yeah, I was going to say,
nominate that. That'd be great.
Right, and most military bases, they have flags that are flown, and then when they have fallen soldiers or that are deceased, then they pass along one of those flown flags over the base or the military. So I wasn't sure if Town of Matthews flies flags occasionally, and if there's one, I don't want to get a new one at the box. I want something that's been honored once before, if that's possible. And then finally, Mark, do I send that to the American Legion, or do I send it to you and make payments so that we can expedite the brick?
That you can go on our website at matthewspost235.org.
Done that, been there, done that, so I'll go ahead and do that then.
Yeah, yep, and you can take care of everything online.
Thank you.
Hey, Doug and Mark, it's James. I want to jump in again real quick. Just so y'all are aware, the senator can get flags that have been flown over the U.S. Capitol building in honor of veterans. So, and for major milestones. So if anyone's celebrating a 90th or 100th birthday or something major, a wedding, something like that, we can get flags flown over the Capitol for that. So if you'll shoot me an email, we can make arrangements for that.
I'll do that. I'll go ahead and take the action on that one, James. Thank you.
Yeah, and Doug, if you'll just, once you receive the flag, if you could we'll pass it along to the American Legion and we'll properly fold it and encase it for you.
So before I do that, I'll get that information so that I can have James send it directly to you guys. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hey, Doug?
Yes, Jack.
Okay, I want to make everybody aware that the bricks aren't limited to veterans. For example, my four uncles were in World War II, veterans, but their four sisters contributed to World War II effort. Two worked in war factories. My mother was a singer at the local USO, and the littlest one was only 8 years old. She helped her mother take care of the house. So I went ahead and got bricks for all of those 8 people. Also, my cousin who lives in Florida, he helped build the Endeavor, and he helps build C-130. He's a veteran in my eyes. I got a brick for him. So it's not limited to just veterans in the service. It's limited to veterans of the United States.
Thank you very much for those remarks. Okay.
Doug, Mark's hand is raised again.
Yes, Mark.
Hey, Doug, I just want to not clarify, but expound upon Jack's comment. Anyone that has contributed to the war effort directly or indirectly, veteran or not, we would be honored to have them placed there. Now, you better hurry up and place your brick orders, because Jack has replaced enough brick orders for his family to completely occupy the entire paver area. So, and his family plot is growing very quickly. So, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see, and we have numerous families who have honored their relatives and friends in the same way Jack has. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and I'm so happy that we have a place to do that after all these years. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Okay. Last shout out before we make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
To adjourn.
Okay, Charlene has a motion to adjourn. Anybody second?
I second.
Jack second that. Everybody say aye.
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 Thank you guys for a great meeting again, and we'll be reaching out to you, James, and thank you guys, all of our visitors, for attending. Good night.